If you're a creative or developer looking for a quick way to test the latest image model or video model, then Fall Playgrounds is the perfect solution for you. In this video, I'll walk you through the process of using Fall Playgrounds to generate an image from text, an image from reference, and then finally a video from reference as well. Let's get started. So here we are on Fall, and I've navigated to Nano Banana Pro, which is a really common and powerful image model. You'll see that we're on the Playground tab, and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and we're going to look at the different inputs that you need to generate images with this model. The first input is a prompt, a text prompt. You can just write in natural English what kind of image you want, and it's going to generate it for you. On top of that, we have more inputs where we can specify different things like the aspect ratio here. By default, it's 1:1. I'm going to change it to 16:9, which is a common video YouTube aspect ratio. We can change the resolution. This is going to make the image bigger, but it'll cost a little bit more, so we'll keep it at 1K. And if you want to get into more of the additional settings or advanced settings, they are right here. And the way I like to work in most cases is I like to crank the number of images up. This is going to give us 4 images, and I can choose the best one. Next, there's a bunch of parameters in here that are a little bit more developer focused that you can dig into if you want. But one I want to call out is output format, and this is going to change the compression and format of your output. I'll leave it at PNG. Cool, so those are the parameters, and right now I'm going to change our text prompt. Every image or video model is going to come with a sample prompt, an image to give you an idea of what you're going to get, but let's customize this and make it something that we want to make for ourselves. So I've changed the text prompt to a 20-year-old boy, 80s USA punk skateboarder standing near an empty pool in LA, and I'm going to hit run. And we're going to get 4 images back in just a little bit. Now, while we're waiting, if you want to learn a little bit more about the model, there's a nice description here on how to prompt it, talks about the different parameters, a little bit about the price, that sort of thing. And also, it'll sometimes compare it to other comparable image models in case you want to understand the strengths and weaknesses of different models altogether. So, hooray, Nano Banana has finished generating our images. And right next to our inputs, we can see our results or outputs here, or requests is another way to think about them. And these images look great. This one, it changed the aspect ratio. Let's just have a peek at these. Even has a bit of a film look, a little bit of grain because we said 1980s. And this is perfect. Absolutely amazing. And this one, it changed the aspect ratio to make it a little bit more like 4:3. Which was an interesting variation. And I like that this one is actually blown out. It has black flag written on the bottom, so a bit of a copyright issue if we were going to try to use that. But let's go with this one. The first one, it has sort of like tinted sepia film look that I like. And what we can do is click on this and actually download it if we want to our local hard drive. We can close that. And if you want to actually look at some of the requests you've done, you can look at those here. Or generally, you could head over to Fall Assets, and that's a great way of viewing the things you've generated. So I've navigated over to Fall Assets, and you can see that we have our recently generated images right here, including our 4 skateboarders. And this is going to be important because now we don't have to rely on the downloaded image. We can actually reference them from Fall Assets in our next phase. So now let's look at using Fall Playground for a slightly more challenging example, which is GPT Image 2, and we're going to switch from text to image, like we did with Nano Banana, to edit. Edit is going to allow us to reference other images, make changes to them, or use those referenced images as references that can be used in creating a brand new image. What does that mean? Let's take a look. So again, GPT Image 2/edit. This is one of my favorite image models. And you can see the example here has 2 referenced images. It has a bus, it has some graphics, and the text prompt asks to combine these together, and it creates this image. This is kind of incredible technology. So I've changed the text prompt to make a character sheet of the man, full body, front, side, and back view, face view, front, and side. So we want a character sheet for this character. And in images here, I'm going to hit add image and then search assets, which will bring up the generations we did before with Nano Banana Pro. I'm going to choose this character here. And now he's referenced in. Now I wanted to look at GPT images too because there's a lot more parameters and a lot more control here. Here's our general quality, which I'm going to bump up to high. This affects how much research this model is going to go do on its own. It also adds to the cost of it. I pretty much always go with high. And then we have our aspect ratio here, which there's a lot of rules for this. There's some built-in ones here, but I'll show a custom one. And I will say 1920 by 1080, which is like kind of a normal video HD aspect ratio. And I'll change the iterations to 2, and we'll leave the format at JPEG in this case. And that is going to get us through most of the parameters, and we will hit run. Great, so here are our generated character sheets. This one looks like kind of a mugshot, sort of. I like that it has the height. He's 6 feet tall, very cool. And this is going to work really well when we move on to our next section where we need to have references of characters and locations and props before we go and make a video. So this is going great. Aren't fall playgrounds super fun? We have generated some images using text to image, and then we moved on to a more complicated version of reference to image. And now we're going to wrap it up by doing a video. Now, video models, it's very common to have similar options of text to video, image to video, and in this case, we're going to go to reference to video, and we're using Happy Horse version 1.1, a relatively new model, and one of my favorites, honestly. So in this example here in the playground, you can see that they've referenced in a lot of different images. This is a cool one. So a bunch of different products and a location, and combine that with the text prompt, and the video model will put it all together for us. So I'm going to clear this out, and we'll build a scene ourselves. And if we go to add image, we can go to assets. And I'm going to bring in the reference with the skateboard. And then I'm going to also bring in the original reference here that has the location in the background. Those will be our 2 references. Character sheets are great if you have really spent the time to design a character and you want them to be consistent throughout the video from different angles. That's a great way of doing it compared to just having this front view of the character. So now I'll change the text prompt and we'll go look at the other parameters before we jump in and generate the video. So I've changed the text prompt to say the skateboarder picks up his skateboard and drops into the pool. He pumps the corner and does a kickflip over the diving board. Now, this is a pretty complicated thing to ask the video model to know. It would need to be obviously trained on skateboard footage to actually be able to associate these two. So let's see how Happy Horse does. This is sort of an ambitious ask, but again, this is the general reference workflow when you're doing something with a video model. Let's look at some of the other parameters here. And we have 16 by 9, 1080p resolution, duration is 10 seconds. Those all sound fine to me. And yeah, not a lot of parameters for Happy Horse. Let's stick with the standards here, or the defaults, and let's see what comes back. Gonna hit run. So I'm getting word from the control booth that we're having some technical difficulties here. Happy Horse version 1.1, very popular. The queue was like 1,000 or something like that. So I actually switched over to CDance and did the same exact process here. CDance reference to video, same prompt, same reference images, slightly different parameters. CDance has a lot going on there, but generally 1080p, 10 seconds, 16 by 9, all very similar. And here is our final video. CDance is obviously incredible. Let's hit play. Uses the starting frame. He drops in. This is a multi-cut. This kickflip goes really well, actually. Kind of a cool catch. I'm not sure about the consistency of the pool. We really didn't define that, but overall, incredible job done by CDance and a good explanation and example of using playgrounds for reference to video. And again, we used our character sheet and our original style frame mostly as our location. So that concludes our look at fall playgrounds. Again, it's a really easy place to test out image, video, 3D audio models, and just do it right at cost. You can learn a little bit about the model in the description below. You can start to understand the pricing structure before you get into developing apps with it. Let me know if you have any questions about this process in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video.